Alright, chapter 5.2, Factors and Divisibility. We've already done factors. Today we're going to remind ourselves how to do that and talk about what makes numbers divisible. Okay, divisibility. So there's some rules here. We're going to come back to these rules in a little bit. Let's just unlock the problem. The first problem says that Carlo's art class painted 32 square tiles. So you had 32 tiles. They will arrange these tiles to make a rectangle. Can you arrange the rectangles? Can the rectangle have 32 tiles arranged in 3 equal rows? So we need 3 rows. Okay, so the idea would be to make 3 rows of tiles, and the first thing is it says draw a model. We have grid paper there, and so we can just start putting rows of tiles and see what they add up to. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Well, that's 30, and I'm trying to get to 32, and so if I add my 32, they stick out. So I can't do that. That means the answer is no. It cannot. Cannot. It can't. Okay, it cannot have 3 rows. Question mark equals no. Okay, so this is just using a model. There's another way to do it, just using long division. So we have 32 tiles total, and we're trying to divide it into 3 rows. So we have 3, well, let's just write it the other way first. 32 divided by 3, and that's the same as 3 goes into 32. The other way to look at it is a multiplication problem. 32 divided by 3 equals something. That means that 3 times some blank is going to equal 32. So we want to check that out. Does 3 go into 32? Is it divisible? And we're going to find out that it's not. 3 times 1 is 3. And when you subtract, you get 0, and you bring down your 2, and 3 does not go into 2. So it's 0 times with a remainder of this 2. So really it's 3 times 10 is equal to 30. If I did the next one, I'd say 3 times 11 is equal to 33. And I can see that 32 is not exactly right. It's close. Okay, it leaves us with 2 left over. 32 is 30 plus 2. So, if you can't divide it evenly, it's not a factor. 3 is not a factor of 32. It doesn't divide evenly, which is our divisibility thought. So we're going to talk a little more about this. Let me delete all of this real quick and we'll keep going. Okay, next page. A number is divisible by another number if the quotient is a counting number and the remainder is 0. So it's divisible if it goes in evenly. It means that you don't have a remainder. And here are some rules for divisibility. These are nice to know. In fact, you should just know them. Some numbers have a divisibility rule. You can use a divisibility rule to tell whether one number is a factor of another. So for instance, they say, is 6 a factor of 72? Is 6 a factor of 72? 6 times blank equals 72. Or 72 divided by 6 equals blank, and it comes out evenly. Now, of course, we can do our long division. Does 6 go into 72? We're going to find out that it does. 6 times 1 is 6, which is less than 7, and we subtract and bring down our 2. 6 goes into 12 twice. So 6 times 12 is 72. Or 72 divided by 6 is 12. This works. It has a divisibility. But there's a divisibility rule for number 6, and it's right here. If yes for 2 and 3. So we have to look at 2 and 3. We know that 2 goes into any even number, and 72 is an even number. 72 is even because it ends in a 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8. That's the one for 2. And 3, the sum of the digits is divisible by 3. Now that's a little strange. The sum of the digits is divisible by 3 means that if we take the 7 plus the 2, we get 9. And 9 is divisible by 3. 9 divided by 3 is 3, and that comes out well. That means that you can divide by 3. So 72 is a yes for 2 and a yes for 3. That means I can divide it by 2 because it's even, and I can divide it by 3 because the sum of its digits is divisible by 3. That means it is also a yes for 6. Now we proved it by doing long division and it coming out even, but we can just look at it. We can look at the number 72 and recognize that if it's yes for 2 and yes for 3, then it's also yes for 6 because that's the rule for 6. Let's do a couple more real quick. I don't want to lose this chart, so I have to sort of delete the hard way. Please be patient with me. Okay. Let's look for the factors for 72. Complete the table. 1 times 72. This is for picking the wrong one. 72. We've got 1 times 72. Now you got 2 times something is 72. So you're going to have to divide. And we have to decide if it divides. Does 2 go into 72? Yes, it does. Because 72 is an even number, we know that it's true, but we still have to find out how many times. 3 times 6, or 3 times 2 is 6. Bring down the 2 and 6. 6 times 2 is 12. So 36 times 2 is 72. Does that make sense? What about 3? Well, we can check the divisibility rule. We already know that 7 plus 2 is equal to 9, and 9 is divisible by 3. So for 3 it works. You add them up, then you divide by 3, and then if that's true, it works. But we're still going to have to do long division. 3 goes into 72 twice here. 3 times goes into 7 twice, so 2 times 3 is 6. Take away 1, bring down the 2, and 3 times 4 is 12. So 3 times 24 is 72. Does 4 go into 72? 4 is not one of our rules, so we're just going to have to do long division to find out. We don't have a rule for number 4. So does 4 go into 72 evenly? 1 times 4 is 4, and that leaves me 7 minus 4 is 3, 2, and 4 times 8 is 32. So 18 is the one that works here. Does 5 go into 72? No, because 5 says the last digit is a 0 or a 5, and the last digit here is a 2. so we're going to skip the 5. The 6, we're going to do 6 because we already showed that we said yes to 2 and 3. We said yes to 2 and 3, so we should be able to say yes to 6. 6 times something. Something is 72. So again, long division. 1 times 6. 2 times 6. We did this on our last problem, so we know that that works. 6 times 12. Does 7 go into 72? 7 times 10 is 70, so no. Does 8 go into 72? Is it 8 times 9? And since we've already used 9, that means that we don't need to find any more numbers. How did you check if 7 is a factor? Well, you have to do the long division to find out. Does 7 go into 72? Well, 1 times 7 is 7. Bring down the 2. Does 7 go into 2? No, it's 0. And 0 times 7 is 0, so you have a remainder of 2. Because there's this remainder, we know that 7 is not a factor of 72. 7 doesn't go in evenly. And that's what was important to find out by that question that they asked. Okay. That's mostly what you're going to do. They want you to draw factors. They want you to find whether something is a factor. If it's a factor, it goes into it. So is 5 a factor of 27? Does 5 go into 27? Question mark? No. 5 goes into 25 and it goes into 30. Now you can do this division problem, but it is not a factor. A factor has to be a number that goes into another number using multiplication. Is 5 a factor of 29? No, because 5 doesn't go into 29 evenly. Is 5 a factor of 35? Yes, because 5 times 7 is 35. So you can use multiplication or you can use division to figure this out. 5 times 5 is 25, not 27. 5 times 6 is 30, not 29. But 5 times 7 is 35, and so it works. This is what you do. Enjoy.